Let's see. Can you see me? I think it's working now. Yeah, there were some technical difficulties, Mats. Let's see. Am I back? Yeah, I think it looks like I'm live now again. I tried turning down the fans and then it just got stuck. True story. No, I think it's working now, right? Good. Oh, Sue, nice to see you. I missed you last time. Hey, Nicole. Nice. I've gotten this down pretty well now, so it's pretty straightforward to start the stream now. I remember the first time when I did this, the first time I just started streaming, I'm like, oh, I'm going to try a live stream. So I just set everything up and it worked. And there were, I think, 3 or 4 people who joined actually. Like some people put it in and it was a nice time to just kind of talk to people. And then the second time, I just couldn't get it started. Like the whole getting the camera to talk to the computer and microphone and everything, it just didn't work. And now I have it down. So like usually I just press and it works. Let's see. Hi, Linda, Kathleen, Steed. Nice. Nice to see someone new. Let's see who else. It's always those damn fans. It is the fans, Mats. I know. Right? Like if there wasn't for the fans, I'd have no problems. Hey, Mindful Mama. Please call me Kat. What's up, Kat? I hope everyone's had a good week. I recorded a video yesterday. Oh my God. You should, like, I record, like, I might release it tomorrow, but more likely Saturday when you watch it. The scenery is from my work, where I work. And it was one of those mornings I just walked around like, wow, it's insane. It's like a fairy tale. It had been frozen at night. And so then in the mornings, the sun was standing at the trees and the ice melted so quickly because the sun was very bright. And then from behind, when you look towards the sun, you could see mist just like this. Absolutely incredible. So I for the next video, which I thought was a really good one. I mean, I haven't released it yet, but you'll see it. I thought it was a really good one where I talk about how steed as in instead. Oh, sorry. Instead, steed. Yeah, steed is a horse, right? I thought it was a really interesting topic about how if you look at it, we're so focused on our thoughts, but it's actually the feeling inside of us that makes us act. So we feel like something is wrong. We have a bad feeling in the morning, and then we kind of come up with ideas as to why we should be angry. So tell me, what has everyone been up to this week? Anything fun happened? Gonna try to get this stuff in order since I didn't have time to before. How's it going with everyone's practice, by the way? Are you having time to practice outside of these sessions, and how's that going? Any difficulties you're running into? I've been speaking to quite a few of you for the interviews, and it's been really interesting. Paramedics, as in ambulance paramedics? Is that paramedics? Oh, you had a blind date? Nice. Very interesting, but also very weird. Well, I don't think I have ever been on a blind date. That's really interesting. I wonder what that would be like. Was there a lot of distortion towards it? Nadia, I've been meditating more whilst making my tea in the mornings and also scattered throughout the day. Nice, just like we spoke about. I think your tea session in the morning is like the perfect time to just be still and be present. And you froze at my end. Or did I freeze now again? I hope it's working now. It could be. Oh, it looks like I'm moving on the screen. Mindful Mama, I'm practicing too little. I have my yoga classes. There I meditate and do my own practice in mindful yoga, but very little actual meditation. There's this thing when you go to, especially in Buddhist centers, yoga is kind of seen as a modern, like, Baha kind of thing, like for many Buddhist centers, because obviously the only true path is through the Buddha and his teachings is how they see it. And I remember that I asked when I was newly ordained, I asked one teacher, I said, like, do you have any good yoga exercise? Because I wanted to be able to sit cross-legged easier. Like in the beginning, my legs stood up like this. Now they just kind of fall flat. Well, they've started going up a bit again. But after a while, they just lay flat. And there's like, yeah, you can stretch that. And I asked a teacher about that. And I still remember the room. There were like birds singing outside. And he just looked at me like, oh, these damn Westerners. Oh, and their stupid questions. Is that some Western thing that you stretch to sit? It's like you just sit and it will get better. I'm like, well, you don't have to be like that about it. Yoga is actually, after having meditated for tens of thousands of hours, I think that yoga is incredible. It's a really good way to get this whole system moving. And if you feel stuck in your meditation, I always recommend people to do walking meditation. But it's also really good to do yoga, because yoga can get all of that moving, and it can help you with your sitting as well. So I definitely think there's a connection. The problem is that people tend to do either or. Either we do yoga or we do meditation, or we do yoga with like we sit for 3 minutes in the end and we kind of don't really practice meditation. The meditation people, they will just sit and then they like do some stretches and think, okay, now I've done yoga, so now I'm fine. I think the best comes when you combine all of these things and you practice both. Nicole, I've never been able to sit cross-legged. You don't need to. Actually, one of the best ways to sit is not cross-legged. It's what's called the diamond position. I think I've shown that before. You basically sit, you can put like big pillows in between your legs, and you put your legs, so if this is my torso going up here, you fold your legs underneath and you have a big pillow like this between your legs. There's actually a stool you can sit on like this. And so then this is your back, and then you sit on the stool with your legs folded underneath the stool. Really nice to sit. You get a super straight back, very little effort to sit with a straight back. It gives you lots of energy for the concentration when you're actually sitting. Many people find that very helpful. I find that helpful. I have one somewhere. I should look it up, because it's actually a good thing to use. Or just build a new one. It's just a plank with like 2 feet on it. So if you want to have a good position to sit in, Nicole, I'd highly recommend that. Otherwise, you can sit in a chair. The main thing is to not lean back too much, because when you lean back, you tend to get a bit groggy. Mats, not much distortion, interestingly, but she had some problems. She basically ran away from her home state and was very mysterious and secretive. The whole interaction felt pretty weird. Mats, what kind of people are you meeting? Seriously. It's like you're living in a soap opera. Mindful Mama, yoga actually started for monks who sat a long time. Oh, really? I didn't know that, but that makes a lot of sense. Good evening, Christian. Nice to see you. Nicole. That's how we sit. Oh, really? That's awesome, Nicole. That's like, yeah, that's what I mean, if you don't sit, I think for many people, that's actually better than sitting cross-legged. Can you, it's a shame we don't have Zoom. I'm going to have to do a Zoom call one day. You can't share photos in the chat, can you? Can you do that? I don't think we can. Let me see. No, I don't think you can. That's a shame. Otherwise, I would have loved to see your chair so we can show people. I'll try to find mine also. Let's see. That's how I said. Linda Stead. I'm a bit of a hermit due to my journey. I practice prayers hourly, and so I stay as a hermit. I'll quit in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I used to, when I was ordained, I used to stop in train stations. I used to love meditating, or I'd sit out in a park. And it was very interesting when you meditate. I mean, I'm sure I don't know what you do when you do prayer, but if you sit with your eyes closed, there's this fear. Like in the beginning, it felt unsafe. What if someone just comes and kicks me in the face, or something will happen? There was a lot of anxiety about not being completely aware of your surroundings. So, but it's a very good way to practice. Absolutely. I love walking meditation. Yeah, walking meditation is amazing. Mats, the Plum Village app is awesome. I haven't seen it yet, actually. I think no, have I seen that? Unless it's, I think I saw an old one, but I'm assuming they made a new one. It's a long time since I was there. I'm a fan of singing prayers. Oh, chanting. I call it chanting. Nicole, but with a pillow. Yeah, so you can sit there, when I said with the legs underneath, you can do that with a pillow. It works just as well, but I think it's easier with the stool. You can have, I don't know if you're into carpentry, but it's very easy to build. Or you could just have someone, a carpenter would make that in like a heartbeat. It's just 3 planks. It's a matter of just getting the angle in. I'm gonna see if I can find mine. I do a lot of woodworking, or I did a lot of woodworking. Now I just build on our house because I don't have time to build just for fun, unfortunately, even though I love doing fine carpentry. It's just not time for it. I had a sawmill that I could saw planks, and I sawed some oak planks. I would love to make some sitting benches like that from that oak. It was a neighbor's oak that I cut down. Mats, no, you can't share photos in YouTube ad chat. Yeah, I figure that. It's a shame. Linda, I think I'm going to attempt to make one. Yeah, do it. It's very easy. Just Google meditation stool, I think they call it. Meditation stool, meditation chair. No, I think it's called a stool because it's like a pall, we call it in Swedish. Very simple to make. It's like no problem, and you could, yeah, the one I had, the most of the ones that I have had, you can fold the legs in, so it's basically like a plank like this, 2 legs, and then they have hinges that go out a little bit and back, so you have an angle, and then you tuck them in so you can carry with you. Mats, everybody keeps telling me that I meet weird people, but where do I meet normal, non-soap opera people? You know, I think this is one of those things that we're so used to crazy being the norm since we're on social media a lot. I mean, you're here, so obviously you watch YouTube, and we kind of normalize crazy, and a lot of people just act strange. And I think there's a pull, right? Like a push back towards just can't we just like be nice to each other? Why does it have to be so goddamn difficult? You just act like, don't just do like weird shit towards others and just behave like a decent human being. It's not that much to ask, but there are a lot of people who just act very strangely. And I think a lot of it has to do that we become so isolated with social media that we just don't really know how to behave around other people. And I work with kids, well, not indirectly anymore, but I used to work with kids who stayed home from school. They were long term. And they really suffered from having just spent too much time online, so they lacked the ability to interact with other human beings their own age, unfortunately. And I think when we grow up, like, there's a lot of people like you, Matsu, and I don't really know. I'm just fortunate that I met someone who was normal, well, who was just like a good person, you know. That's all you ask for, and then you can build upon that. If they're just not too crazy and just have a good heart, I think then you can do a lot. I spoke to a colleague about this today, and we were saying how many men have problems talking about their emotions. I think most men who are here, like, well, I'm thinking of Mats and JVB and Stefan, no, I can't remember the name. What's your name, Swedish guy? Christian, sorry. Like, we are probably more open than your average person. But then when you get in a relationship, if you're not able to talk about your emotions and not able to open up, and because her son had been, is in a relationship, and he said that, well, it's difficult, you know, because I have to take consideration for her emotions and what she wants, and like, he'd lived with his family, like his mother and sister, and they were very close, so they rarely had any problems. And then when you try to become a couple, like, as long as you have somewhat similar values and you're just somewhat online with like what's okay and what's not okay, I think you can kind of figure the rest out, as long as you have an open communication and are willing to kind of work with it. But there's a lot of weird people who just have insane expectations of, and I mean, I get it. Like, we watch TV and we watch TikTok, and gives us kind of strange expectations of what relationships are like, or how someone's supposed to be. Because if you go on TikTok, then all women look like supermodels and just run around with fancy handbags and do dances all the time. And kind of, that's not really, I mean, that's not the kind of woman I would be looking after. But if you're young and you look at that, there's like, oh, that's cool, that's what I want. And then the women look at the girls, look at it and are like, okay, that's what I got to do. And then everyone's running after something that doesn't really exist. What a beautiful mental picture you brought to me. Yeah, I see your inner child coming out. You should make several. Mats, I think the main problem is that the weird people, that weird people congregate online. I should start meeting people, especially women, in real life. I think there's a point to that. I really think that's a good point, Mats. Because I remember when I was younger, I was interested in electronics, and I wanted to learn how to do like circuit boards and connect and how it worked. And I had a neighbor who worked at one of the nuclear power plants here, and he had a course that he had ordered online to study kind of, and you had to find a newspaper magazine, and then there was an ad, someone selling a course printed. And I wonder if that one was one of those, you know, blue paper, you rolled blue paper and came out. So I did that course, and like, wow, like imagine if other people around me who could like do this stuff together with me. That would be amazing. Now you have internet, and everyone has like a fetish that you can kind of get your talk aloud about, or like congregate with other people. And then I think normal people, just normal, okay, I don't want to use that word in the wrong way, but people who are just occupied with their lives in real life, they don't spend like their majority of their time online on forums, like trolling and shit posting and just being angry at people. They're just more busy with what's actually happening around them. So I think you have a point that's kind of why people congregate in forums like that. That's why I don't do social media. I think that's a great idea. I do want to, I mean, I will hopefully eventually, I would love to have a forum where people that are like-minded could kind of come together and talk, because it is difficult to find people. I'm just amazed at the people who come here and the people who watch my videos. So few people come and are trolls and just act in a weird way. I have some on my Why I Became a Buddhist Monk. That's the only place where I get weirdos, because they come being Buddhist and they don't think I'm a Buddhist because I'm not. And then they get upset by me doing what I do. So, yeah. But finding other people who are like you is a really good way to enjoy life more, because it's just easier when you don't have to fight about everything, and when you can kind of understand each other. Because even if you don't talk the same language, if you don't have the same ideas about everything, at least you have like values that you do, like, okay, we don't do this, and this is something we strive towards, and that will kind of be enough. Nicole, Mats, maybe do some hobbies you enjoy and you will meet others. Yeah, I used to sing in choirs, and that's a great place to meet people. My for Mama, oh yes, that's a bit difficult indeed. Mats, yeah, I could try some new hobbies. I've been thinking about going to a yoga course of pottery, since I'm interested in that anyway, so that's a great idea. Yoga is like, I think yoga is a great place to meet people who are like you, like thinking about themselves. Okay, that sounds bad. Thinking about their inner self, wanting to develop themselves a bit. I think that would be a good place to go. I mean, I think the problem is that I'm not sure that's a space where you'd really go and look for a partner, but you could go there just to have fun, and then maybe you meet someone. Okay, let's meditate. Let's see for Mama saying, yes, indeed, like Nicole said, when you have something in common with someone, so do something as a hobby. Yeah. Sue, I reduced my circle to dog and craft people. I'm so much happier in Notre Dame. Yeah. And I think also people who are similar hobbies, that creates like a atmosphere about that makes you have like a common denominator that makes you think in a certain way. And I could really see how people who are into dogs and crafts, I mean, obviously that's like something I'm very passionate about. It's a certain mentality that you need to do those things. Mindful Mama, yoga retreat, then you will meet other people. In the class, most people are very much silent. That's a good point. Before we start, I have to say one more thing. It's good because I'm sitting here so I can have the last word no matter what you guys say. There's a thing that happens, and I mean, I had this when I was a monk also. And it's a thing that happens especially when you go to intensive retreats. And it has a name. It's called Vipassana love. So what happens is that you go to a retreat and you go there and you sit, and it's just pain, and you sit through all of this, and you focus on what comes up inside, and you're sitting with it and going through it, and then you start feeling good, and then you start appreciating the world around you, not so much like your story of your life, but actually just like simple things like breathing. And then when you look out, because you open your eyes when you start meditating, you look around, and then you see someone, and you see a girl. I mean, for me it would be a girl, or if it's a man, a woman, it might be a man or a woman, or like whatever you're into. And you see them and you go, whoa, that person looks like a dream, because you're no longer seeing with so much distortion. There's less me there. You're just seeing them as they are. And they're just sitting there all holy and beautiful, and you fall, well, I didn't actually fall in love with them, but there's a lot of people who fall in love with someone they never spoken to, because they sit there and they meditate and they feel so peaceful, and they feel a connection to this person, and they'll go up to them. I've had people come up to me and said that they've had conversations with me during the whole retreat. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I mean, I'm not quite aware what we spoke about. Would you fill me in? Kind of, because I don't really know. So people tend to fall in love when you have less distortion, and the whole thing is that when there's less of you there to react towards everything around you, then everything is just more beautiful, everything is more pleasant, everything is just more enjoyable the way it is. You don't need to change everything, it's just there, and so you appreciate things around you. And if there's other people and you're focused on man, woman, then that's something that would really come to the surface. So a retreat is a really nice place in many ways to meet people, but it's also a bit tricky because you're in a place that's removed from, I'm not going to say reality, but daily life. And then when you get back to that, it might not be the same. But I think it's a really good place to meet like-minded people, is what I wanted to say. Sorry for going off on that tangent, but it's a really, I mean, it's something that happened a lot, and I saw people who got together afterwards, and they were looking at each other, flirting, and I met my fiance on a retreat in a way while I was a monk, but we never did anything until after. But we met each other, and we were quite obviously into each other. We just couldn't do anything because I was ordained. I was disrobing at the time, so I kind of like, okay, we'll keep contact, and then yeah. God damn it! Did I fall for Vipassana love? Oh my God! I can't believe it. I actually did. In a way, did I? I don't know. Yeah. See? But it can't work out because we've been together for 9 years and have 2 kids. So, in a way, it's okay, I guess. Let's see. My mama often said, I just started my first interaction with community 2 weeks ago. Tying quilts. Oh, that's nice. Then it's just strictly about fellowship. I must laugh. Okay, everyone, let's sit. So, for those of you who are new, we usually sit down. I have a bit of a tongue twister today. We sit down and chat for 20 minutes or so. Before it was 5 minutes, it's gotten longer. After that, we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is a technique where we focus on 5 things we can see, 4 things we can feel, 3 things we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. And the whole idea is to get to this Vipassana love state where we're seeing things around you and experiencing the world around us without the lens of me, without this Maya thing that the Maya engines used to talk about there, that kind of haze that is there, and you just remove it. And everything appears clear and just perfect the way it is, almost divine in a way, without using that in a bad way. So we're trying to observe just the qualities of the senses instead of our idea of what the object is that we're experiencing or interacting with. Today's Thursday, so it is Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday. So it's Thursday, so there's no guided meditation today, but we'll just sit together for 20 minutes. And afterwards, we'll have a short chat again if anyone has anything that came up. It's a bit late due to technical difficulties of that fan, but yeah, we'll have time for a little bit of a chat after. So, I'll say 5 things out aloud that I can see, and you can just say them out aloud by your end as well. It's important that you try to say them out aloud if you can, unless you're disturbing someone, because the whole idea is to stop and really observe. So I see outside of me, I see a lens. And when I'm looking at the lens, I'm not just looking, okay, a lens. I mean, we all know what a lens is. But I'm actually looking at the reflections in the lens. It's almost like a mirror, and I can see all the things in the lens. I can see the colors, the shades, the texture, the way the light curves around it. And we're trying basically to fall in love with reality, with our senses, what we're experiencing, to see that it's beautiful to see it like that. We just tend to just look in our mind, make lens, and then we're not interested anymore. But we're trying to stay longer with objects to really see them as they are. This is, by the way, a really good exercise to do with your partner, to really look at them. You don't have to stare them in the eye and go all crazy. I mean, just look at them. I often look at my fiance when she's walking around and doing things, and just appreciating her, just seeing her walk around when she plays with the kids is something I find very beautiful. And just look at her walking around and see her, or when she's doing something, or just sitting, when she's doing her yoga, or just, it's a really good way to look at, and not because, oh, I want to have someone, but actually just trying to feel just calmness and appreciation of the thing you're looking at, and like everything, and just, it's okay that it's there. I don't need to have it here. I can let it stay there, but I can appreciate that it's something beautiful and something that I like. Same as with this, like everything here, there's nothing here that makes me go like, oh, my eyes, oh God, eyes burning. I'm not having a copy of what those movies I never watched, The Saw, or the Human Centipede. Like, who comes up with movies like this? So, a lens. That was, okay, I'm really bad at doing this one shortly, but I hope you understand. I'm hoping that by giving more explanations of what I'm actually doing, it will be easier for you to do the same. So next I see a barcode. I see lots of small plastic things. I see electrical cables. And I see a light switch. And we're not trying to do anything extravagant. If you start feeling contraction in your torso, that you're really trying to get something out of the thing you're looking at, then you're going in the wrong direction. It should be relaxed, it should be effortless, it should be easy, it should be enjoyable. If it's not those things, then you're doing something wrong from the perspective of what we're trying to do. Next, we're doing 4 things that we can feel. I can feel moisture on my lips. And same here. There's a part of me like, oh, it's running down on my beard here. Like, I don't want that. But we're not trying to do anything with this. We're just trying to say, oh, no, it's just liquid running here. I can just do this. But there's a distortion that wants to like, oh, I need to do this so it doesn't run over. Like, majority of our actions are made from habitual patterns, because you've been trained from birth. Like, oh, this happens, then you should do this. So when you feel something, oh, then I should react like this. But we're trying to break that and just feel, oh, it's just something running over here. Sometimes that means we experience things that are unpleasant without doing anything about it. Sometimes it means we experience things that are pleasant and not do anything about it. I can feel something itching in my hair. My scalp is what you call it, right? Oh, there's an itch right there. Yeah. I have a bit of a migraine, so it's just I think it's a nerve connected here or something. I can feel now that I'm holding my hand here. It's almost like, if you've ever done Reiki, there's like a tingling kind of coming at the scalp as well. And just being curious about it, really spending time with your senses. Not just brushing them off and like, okay, that's like tingling, done. Or that's itch, I'm going to itch to get it away. But actually, like, what does that feel like? What parts are there in itching? Like, can you see that it's pulsing kind of? It's almost like this. And it's moving around a little bit. And it feels like it's stretched out, one center point, and then goes out. So really becoming curious about what you're experiencing. Because what we're really trying to do is to stop experiencing our life story and start experiencing our life experience. Because they're 2 different things. The story is what you tell yourself about everything that happens. The experience is the itching on the scalp right now. That's my life experience. I mean, that's part of my life experience. Fortunately, I have other things that are happening. But the fact that I have children, that I have a fiance, that I have a house, that like those things are not happening now. I mean, I am sitting in this office, which is not directly connected to the house, but it's part of our house. But they're not part of my reality right now. Right now, it's just the things I can see here. As soon as you go outside of here, you're going somewhere else. We're trying to really stay with the experience of our reality. I think there was 4 things. I don't know. I'm bad at counting. Next, we have 3 things that we can smell. This is... No, sorry, no, we don't smell 3 things. We hear 3 things. So we listen for 3 things that we can hear. Same thing here. Try to listen for patterns, for nuances within the sounds, or whatever is happening that you can hear. I can hear a fan whining going up and down in pitch. Is it changing its speed? Almost like a whistling sound inside of it. I can hear tires on asphalt. If you're noticing that you're, like, you know, what do you call it, when you wrinkled your forehead because you're trying to listen like that, then relax. We're not trying to do anything. We're just trying to let reality happen. You're not looking for a sound. You're just being there to receive the sound. Oh, I forgot to listen. Sorry, I started meditating. I'm sorry. That's just so enjoyable sitting here. Let's see what else. I can hear my breathing. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so those are 3 things that I could hear. Now, 2 things that I can smell. I can smell citrus. Sometimes it's like you almost have to just take a step back and wait for the smell to come, because there's nothing there. Oh yes, I can smell them. Chewing gum. I wonder what it's like for dogs. They must smell so much, like it's like a whole different sense for them. So, finally, one thing that we can taste. Tastes a bit like savory, something from the food. Yeah. welcome to keep on sitting. If you have any thoughts, ideas, or questions, feel free to ask them. I'm gonna drink some tea. It won't be too much longer tonight since it's already 9 o'clock. But if you have anything on your mind, feel free to share it. Also, I apologize. I've gotten messages from some of you via email, and I haven't answered. It's been my daughter's birthday this week, so I just haven't been able to sit in front of the computer. I will respond later this week. And also, thank you for those of you who have sent buy me a coffee. I don't know why, but I cannot log into my phone and write thank you, so I'm gonna have to re-log into that. That's why I haven't responded. But thank you. I appreciate it. Mats, very rough sitting for me today. Since my anxiety was at 9 out of 10, anxious thoughts jolted me out of my meditation. Any tips besides walking meditation for distressful sittings? Anxiety stems from the feeling of not being good enough. Does the feeling of not being good enough have anything to do with the meditation, or is it outside of that? I'll tell a story also why one shouldn't take this stuff too seriously when it comes to anxiety outside of the meditation. Yeah. So when I started sitting like a lot, then something happened. There's something called the dark night of the soul, where you go, and don't take this too seriously when I say that, but it's just a really dark period. And I remember the first time, especially in the Theravadan tradition, there are maps that are really precise in what happens, and it's remarkable how when you follow someone who, especially when you meditate intensely, in an intensive retreat for prolonged periods of time, we're talking weeks of months, then you see this very clearly how it goes up and down. And there's a part called the Dukkha Jnanas, knowledge of suffering, or it's often called the dark night of the soul. When that happened to me the first time, I remember I was walking around, and I had just had a peek before that, which is how it works. It worked really well, and then it kind of petered off, and I was, just okay. I was sitting, and then I was walking, and I almost like this. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I almost felt like I fell through, and my stomach just fell through the ground, and I felt so bad. It was like absolutely terrible, depressive anxiety feeling state that was so like that. It really that quick. And since it was that quick, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not anxious about anything. I don't have anything to be depressed about. Like 1 second ago, I didn't feel this way. This has to be something that has to do with the meditation. This is not like something real. And then I dipped into that, and it only lasted for a few minutes. And I remember walking around like, oh, everything feels like shit. Everything is terrible. Everything is poop. Everything is just so bad. I don't want, like, there's no point in me living. Like why? Like, there's no purpose to life anyway. It's just pointless everything. And it was kind of absurd hearing, first of all, feeling this feeling, because that's the main problem. The thoughts are not really a problem. I mean, the thoughts were negative, but the problem is how it feels in the body. And since the contrast was so extreme from what I felt just a second before, then I didn't take it seriously. I didn't get caught up in it. And thus I just went in and then just popped out a few minutes later. Some people drop into that and stay there for years because they take it seriously and they try to figure it out and try to understand where it's coming from and go to the root of it and really psychoanalyze every nuance of it. But in the end, it's just a sensation in your body. When you say there's anxiety and there's these feelings of not being worthy or not being good enough or whatever it is you're feeling, when you really look at that, it's just a feeling. You can make it into a story, and then there's all the things that tell why you haven't been good enough before, and the proof you have to prove that, yes, that's true, Martin, you don't understand, because for me, blah, blah. Like, I have that also. Like, when I sometimes talk about meditation, I'm like, who am I to tell you about meditation? I don't know. I mean, I'm just making this stuff up. Like, I literally am. I'm just, well, I'm making it up, but I'm just telling you exactly how I am experiencing this thing that is localized that we call Martin. Like I'm just sharing what that feels like to experience in meditation. I'm not reading any books. I'm not quoting any masters. I'm not. I mean, I am an ex-Buddhist monk, but I wasn't even a Buddhist while I was a Buddhist monk. I just liked the teachings of the Buddha, and I liked the idea of meditating. So a really good way to approach this is to not see it as the story of not being good enough, because that's not the problem. I mean, it might actually be that you're not good enough. If you need to jump, like something concrete, you need to jump over a cliff, and that breadth that you need, I mean, the width that you need to jump is, let's say, 5 meters. Like, there's no way I could jump 5 meters. I'm not good enough to jump 5 meters. I'd just fall down and die. So I'm not good enough to do that. But that doesn't make me feel bad. There's other people who could do that, I'm sure, but I mean, I'm perfectly fine with not being able to jump 5 meters. I mean, if my life would depend on it, then I'd have to figure out how to learn it. But I'd be perfectly fine with the fact that, well, that's just so way out of my ability to jump 5 meters. At least I think so. Can you jump 5 meters? No. I don't think I could jump 5 meters. No way I could do that. But I wouldn't feel bad about it. That's my point. It's just that whatever it is that you're feeling bad about is something that you've identified with in this story. And many times we try to then, when it becomes a problem, is if I start saying, well, you know, that cliff there, I can jump that easy. Oh my God. I can just walk up to it, close my eyes, and just stand on one foot and just get up on my big toe and just do like a Bruce Lee, like just push off like that, and I'd be on the other side. So easy. I'm so good at jumping, yeah. I mean, then I'd have a problem, because then other people are going to say, like, is he really that good at jumping? Can he really do that? And then I would start to feel bad, because I can't live up to those expectations, which aren't real. And it's the same when I'm sitting here. Whatever I say, I never say anything that I haven't experienced, or that I don't have any kind of feeling of what it would be like. Otherwise, then I'd just be sitting here and I'd be nervous the whole time. Like, oh, am I saying something that's right, something's wrong? I mean, many of the things when you ask me something, I just make it up now. It's not like I have a rehearsed answer when people ask about what is it like to sit with anxiety. No, I just kind of, what comes to the mind, I try to get out of the way. And I mean, I know you, so I have a relationship to you, and I try to get the best answer I can from that. But I'm not trying to defend me, and I don't feel like I can fail, because you all have seen me enough that you know that sometimes I say stuff that probably doesn't make any sense. Hopefully, most of the time, it does make some kind of sense. And you're still here, so that's okay. And if you wouldn't be here, well, that's fine as well. Then maybe someone else would come and listen, or at least I feel good talking about it this way. So I find that it really helps to think of it as distortions, of not identifying with the feeling and creating a story. Because when you say, or when we say, I'm not good enough, that's a story. We're creating this image that you need to uphold. But when you just look at it, oh, it's just an uncomfortable feeling. I can handle an uncomfortable feeling. I mean, we can handle that, but we can't handle this whole story. So changing perspective. And then also another part is, like I said in the beginning, that meditation is not like this. It's not like you're supposed to just have good sittings. It really does go up and down. And you will face a lot of rough patches when you meditate. The more you meditate, the more it's not going to be a holiday, kind of like that. And my son, he says, holiday. He says, they just play, and he jumps around and says holiday. And then he jumps on the sofa and on the tables and everything. So just like be a bit like my son, like holiday feeling. Just jump around, and it's okay. I mean, he's not good enough at well, he's good enough. I think he is, at least, but he's not good at a lot of stuff. But he doesn't feel bad about that. He just kind of does it again and then falls over, and he. Yeah, it's really interesting. Also, he has the attitude that if something doesn't work, he'll just run and like just fall down. And he just like gets up and he's like, oh, okay, if it really hurts, then he stops, of course. But otherwise, he just like, it's okay, I'm just going to try again. And then he jumps and like runs until like he'll get over those 5 meters. Whereas my daughter, she's so careful, so sensitive, doesn't want to do anything wrong. And very good at what she does, but she's very careful about doing things wrong. And I sometimes worry about that, because that's something that's going to be difficult when you get older and you get out into the world, and then people start putting things on you that you need to be this way. Which is what I'm assuming that you're feeling here. Did that make any sense? I hope that cleared something up, or that it gave you a different perspective. I think it's bedtime for me. As always, yeah, that makes sense. Nice to hear that, Mats. And feel free to bring it up again next time if it's still something that you're struggling with. Thank you all very much. As always, it's a pleasure. I enjoy this very much. And like I said, that there will be a new video either tomorrow, more likely Saturday. I highly recommend you watch it. And yeah, the B-roll. Wow, I wish we could have been there. It would be so awesome if we all lived like closer together to actually meet and go out and like do a barbecue or something together and then go sitting outside. That would be amazing. Thank you and have a great weekend. And as always, remember to focus on enjoying. It's the same, like with Mats is saying, it's difficult to enjoy when things are difficult, but really lean into happiness, lean into enjoying just being, because if we take away the story, it is still enjoyable to be here. Thank you, and I'll see you all on Monday again.